So the Superman trailer finally dropped and we got a lot of Easter eggs, a lot of crazy possibility story plot lines. And today we're going to break it down for you guys pretty easy, even if you're an expert or not. Either way, we're going to break it down. So stick around guys, make sure to like, subscribe, and let's get straight into the video. The trailer opens up with a beaten and bloodied Superman falling from the sky. The Fortress of Solitude must be nearby, and the hero whistles for a crypto before asking the adorable Pooch to take him home. The DCEU's dark tone was a turnoff for many fans and moviegoers, so it's an interesting decision from Gunn to kick off this sneak peek with a shot like this. It soon made clear that this will be a very different kind of Superman movie when Krypto barrels up to downed Kryptonian, cape and all, and drags him to safety. The question is, who has managed to overpower Superman in such a big way that he's all bloodied up in the beginning of the trailer? Our first look at Superman offers a few intriguing glimpses into the Man of Steel personal life. We watch as Clark Kent pushes his way through the crowd to get to the Daily Planet, and he deserves props for making sure no one will confuse him with a certain superhero. When then see him with Lois Lane, a fellow reporter and his love interest in the movie, exchange glances in the newsroom. We'll talk more about the relationship very soon, but later the teaser takes us to Smallville and the Kent family farm. Clint and his father, Jonathan, embracing what looks like to be a tender moment. Could this be an indication that Ma Kent is no longer around? Well, the Superman trailer doesn't reveal much about Lex Luthor though. The villain is clearly incensed with his cease to hero flight past his undeniably impressive Lex Luthor Court building. Lex is also shown holding a gun and looking a little worse for wear. Gunn has confirmed that they haven't crossed paths when this movie begins, and we can't wait to see how their dynamic is handled in the DCU. And what if anything this movie's setting up for Lex moving forward? Maybe a standalone Lex Luthor film? Honestly, I really think that would be awesome in my opinion. As for Stag Industries, Superman is shown at a console in the beginning while people watch from outside. It appears he needs to make a faithful decision of some sort, and we wouldn't be shocked if one of them puts him in the box he breaks out of. While the Man of Tomorrow is standing on that computer, it's a Guy Gardner who uses his Green Lantern ring to block the view of those onlookers, joining him in Hawkgirl and Mr. Terrific, with the latter wearing what appears to be an elaborate jetpack. Set photos confirm that each of them is wearing costumes with Lore Tech branding, so all these corporations must have an important role to play in Superman. The trailer offers a glimpse of Metamorpho. He has a close ties to Simon Stagg in the comics, and considering the fact that he's not with his fellow heroes, we have a feeling that he might be integral to the plot in other ways, given his abilities to transmute his body into different elemental compounds. And then one of the craziest scenes in my opinion is when we see Superman versus the Kaiju. If you need a further proof, this is James Gunn's movie. Look no further than the fact that Superman is shown battling a gigantic monster. This Kaiju doesn't appear based on any particular comic book monster that I'm aware of, but there's a precedent for clashes like this going back to the 1940s animated films. We never really seen Kal-El face a threat like this in live action though, so it's pretty new. Where has this monster come from? It may have ties to wider story, but similar to Starro or Peacemaker's alien invasion, Gunn's approach to adapting the comics means not everything needs to be a grounded or realistic explanation. So then we see, Fortress of Solitude. We don't really get to see a full Fortress of Solitude reveal in this trailer, but a glimpse inside shows Superman seemingly mourning a downed robot. What could it be? We don't know, but we have a reason to believe this is the DCU's take on Kelex. In the comics, he's the Kryptonian robot caretaker of Superman's Fortress of Solitude and was originally one of Jor-El's robotic servants on the planet Krypton. We're not surprised that Gunn has included a character like Helix, and even less surprised that filmmaker will likely must, make us care deeply for the robot before killing him off, though there may be a way to repair him. The Ultraman battle. Scoopers and set photos have basically confirmed that Superman will battle Ultraman in these movies, though the movie villain isn't expected to be an evil version of the superhero from elsewhere in the multiverse. Instead, he'll likely be a clone created by Lex Luthor, who, if we had to hazard a guess, could be Gunn's take on Bizarro. There are only a couple brief shots here anyways, as he punches through a wall and fights Supes into a stadium. As for a glowing ball in the sky, well, the trailer gives us some tendrils. We're still unsure who or what might be controlling it, or indeed why it's a threat to Metropolis. Then, like I said, we were gonna get to Lois and pretty much Superman. With this movie set to begin in Superman as an already established superhero, fans have questions like what could mean for him and Lois Lane. Does she know that her mild-mannered colleague Clark Kent is Superman? As much as we love to see her figure it out the truth in this adventure, it seems the answer to that question is yes, because she's shown it in a romantic situation with both sides of the heroes. Sure, Gunn could give us a love triangle story here, but we bet on these two already being an item in Superman, though we don't necessarily expect them to be married at this stage. More just like a very close couple, like boyfriend and girlfriend. So, honestly guys, the death and destruction with a Caillou on the loose and a shot of 3 skyscrapers falling to the ground. The DC Metropolis won't be free of death or destruction, it seems. So, pretty much, 2013's Man of Steel came under fire for the way Superman battle with General Zod led to the death of thousands. Zack Snyder responded by having the Dark Knight mission in Batman vs Superman Dawn of Justice to make the alien pay for his crimes. We don't see Gunn heading down a similar route though, and a shot of the hero saving a little girl is all we need to know the filmmaker will do right by the character when all hell breaks loose. And then, an international incident. The Borborian troops amassing at border reached the headlines on the GBS news channel, but how would this factor into Superman? Well, common sense says that the hero will get involved with whatever's happening in the country leading to an international incident. That would be enough for Lex Luthor to turn Metropolis against Superman, especially if his actions inadvertently threaten America. And it opens the door to Argus detaining him, another plot point revealed in set photos when we saw Superman handcuffed. Mr. Terrific is shown using his tech to protect LexCorp workers too, so there might be a connection between the corporations we mentioned before that plays into this. Either way, based on the young boy's actions, the whole world needs Superman. And honestly guys, this is one of my best breakdowns that I've done. I really love Superman, this movie that's about to be made by James Gunn. I'm actually very excited for it. Look, I'm 22 and I grew up watching Man of Steel with my parents. I was very, very young when Man of Steel came out. Honestly, I was like, I think around 13, around there, 13, 14. So I did watch the previous 2008 version. So I kind of grew up with that version as well as Man of Steel. And honestly, after growing up, I now realize how times change and movies adapt. The 2008 version that movie, it's way different than Man of Steel. Way different vibes. It was just way different. And a lot of people liked it. A lot of people didn't like the changes. But me as a kid, I didn't really see a difference. I was just excited to go into the movies and see Superman, my favorite hero. So now as I'm growing up and I'm 22 now, and I see that this movie's coming out and this is gonna be like the Superman for the new generation, like the younger generation that are 10 years old, 15 years old right now. So as someone that now I'm in the position that I'm kind of getting older, but obviously I'm not that old compared to other fans that know more. But I'm very tapped into like knowing about the history, so I did read a lot of the comics. I'm very into that nerdy stuff. And I watched the previous movies with the original Superman that unfortunately passed away. So I really see that with generations, it changes. The vibes changes, the agendas change. But I really believe that James Gunn is pretty much giving us the best version of Superman that he can produce. And I'm very sure that he did binge watch Superman and Lois. He's a big fan of Superman, and I did see a recent interview where he kind of mentioned Superman and Lois, and meaning that he's very tapped into the culture. So he's one of us. So seeing someone that appreciates the evolution of a superhero throughout the ages, adapting him with the new generation, trying to relate to the new generation as well as trying to keep, the old generation in the same one, satisfy both sides of the coin. I really think this is going to be a very great movie, guys. And honestly, let's hope for the best. There's going to be a very different tone from Man of Steel or any other movie. And honestly, I think this is the beginning of something that could really rival Marvel in the future. And yeah. So guys, don't forget to come back tomorrow. We do upload daily content on this channel every single day. No breaks. So make sure to check us out in the next couple of days. Now, as always, I'm MrNova, and I'm out. Peace!